Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dee Reinhardt. I'm with Illinois WorkNet, and today we are doing an overview of the homeless youth project for tracking within the Illinois WorkNet system. We call it the Customer Support Center, or we call it the IWIS, Illinois Workforce Integration System. And to access that, you will all be given an Illinois WorkNet user account. And because the tool that you'll be using is powered by Illinois WorkNet, you will be required to log in with that. So I'm going to work with Julie to get the initial users squared away, and then we'll work through the user management system to add additional users, and each agency will be able to track those users, add and subtract them on their own. And that will give you access to the customers in Illinois WorkNet. So let me go to let me minimize this. Once you are in Illinois WorkNet and logged in, you will see a ribbon across the top here that has that will indicate that you are logged in. Excuse me. You just click the drop down arrow and it will take you to a list of partner tools that you can access, and you will just click on the Customer Support Center IWIS, and that will take you to the dashboard that I was just showing you. Now I'm going to show you all of this in test so that we do not have to worry about getting false information into the real data on the system. So when you land in the Customer Support Center, IWIS, you will see a list of groups that you have access to. I do recognize some of the organization names, so there is a possibility that you might be familiar with the Customer Support Center from previous grants or concurrent grants that you're working with. So that would be beneficial to you, but we will show you all of the tools that are available. So when you click on the DHS Youth Program for Employment and Education, it will take you to the group list of the customers in your group. And on this page, the user that I happen to be logged in is Austin People's Action Center. And then from here, you can look up somebody's name. So if there are people already listed on your page, those are your customers that have been added. You'll be able to look by your organization. You will be able to filter by program year. You will be able to select a quarter. You'll be able to look by customer type, and you will be able to filter by the particular program. And you would want to pick the HYES program from this list to filter. Now, as you are adding a new customer to the system, this is a brand new update to this tool. We were having a lot of issues with participants selecting the wrong provider. So we are using this option in other grant programs. So we decided to update the DHS Youth program to include this as well. So we have the ability to click on this button to add a customer, and you enter a first name, and I'm just going to use somebody from the group here. I'm going to use Jasmine, and we'll do a different last name here. We'll do Vaughn. We'll mix them up here. And you would enter a date of birth. And I do believe that there is a age limit here that they have to be. Oh, my number locks aren't on. They do have to be a certain age. So and if the customer does not have an email address, you can check that box and it will give them a fake email that you can change moving forward. And then you can enter the social security number if you have it. If you have the whole number, that is the preference to enter, but it is not a required field. And then it's taking you to the Austin People's Action Center because that's what I'm logged in as. Then this way the youth don't have to worry about picking the wrong organization. And then you enter a zip code. What it will do is we'll look for an existing customer in the Illinois WorkNet system to find out if there is anybody in there already. If there is not, it will create a user. And as you can see here, we have J. Vaughn created. And it will give you a temporary password for that person. The next time that customer logs in, they will use that password. So we advise that you write it down. And then what you can do with this is you can send, if you think your customer is computer savvy, you can send the link to the initial application to that customer, or you can complete the initial application with the customer, or you can add your next customer. And then once you get them added, you'll be able to go back in and finish the application. For today's purpose, we are going to complete the initial application with the customer. So you can, one of the options that you can do is get a paper copy of the application, have them fill it out if you want, or you can have them sitting with you, or you could be in a Zoom meeting and sharing your screen and they can help you answer the questions. So there's a number of ways that you can get this filled out with the customer. So we're going to complete the application. And please, by all means, ask any questions that you need to along the way. So we have some eligibility questions that need to be answered. We have, do you live in Illinois? Are you authorized to work in the US? Are you currently in school when school is in session? This gets a little tricky over the summer months when the kids are in school, but if you know that they are of school age and should be in school, then you can answer yes. Are you actively working towards a high school diploma, got your GED, or attended post-secondary training? And we're going to say actively working toward a high school diploma. Then we have a number of situations. These are additional eligibility items that might help them. There's a number of things here. You can pick as many as are applicable. I'm thinking for the homeless youth program, you might want to have the I am homeless on there, but it is not necessarily a requirement for this application. I'm going to just pick a few here, and then you can save and go to next page. This is their provider. We have, we will be removing this particular piece because you will have already selected a provider, so this piece will be gone. I apologize. This is test, and we have not gotten that fixed yet. What are your employment goals, full-time or part-time? How do you get to a job or training? When are you able to work? And then fill in some additional questions. Where do you see yourself in 1 year? I'm just going to put in words here for each of these, but it is nice to have a thoughtful answer for each of these for future reference. What steps have you taken to get there? Whatever they've done. Where do you see, what do you see as your work-related skills or strengths? This is a conversation point to have with them. And then save and go to next page. This talks about what accommodations might they need or what can they do. So if they can lift 5 gallons of water, can they stand or sit for 4 hours? Are they able to sit for a long time? Drug rehab in some cases. This is not a parameter for the program. This is more a parameter for being able to be employed. Eyesight. What type of work environment interests them? You can check all that apply. This one has to do with the driver's license. And then offenses, if they have any, and then we continue to the application. So on here, if you filled in the social security number initially, it should show up here. Otherwise, the rest of the information is from that initial data entry that you put in for the agency. And then we can enter a street address. Now I am going to enter a social security number in here, so that I can track it easily. And then I use that for the address since this is a test account. And it helps if I spell the town properly. Phone number. Type. And save and go to next page. What is their gender? Let's see, I did Jasmine, so she would be female, but we do have the option for non-binary or prefer not to answer. Military status, we're picking none. Marital status, we're picking single. Hispanic or not. And race. Do they speak any languages? And we do have down here on the secondary language, it is required, but we do have a none down here as an option. So we're gonna pick Spanish in there. Save and go to next page. Highest level of education, we have a whole option here all the way through college and advanced degrees. So we're going to say high school senior did not receive. They don't have any additional credentials, but if they did, you could enter that information here. And so I'm going to mark no on here just to move on. Have you had a job? If you pick yes, it asks you what your current employment status is. If you pick no, it will automatically trigger the not in labor force. If you do pick yes, it will want you to enter at least one job. You can enter additional ones. Just to save some time here, I'm going to click the no and save and move to next page. Here we want to find out if they've worked with any service providers. They might have worked with healthcare and family services. They might have worked with mental health, maybe none. And then how did you hear about this program? Was it at a local DHS office maybe? They can mark that, or any place else where they heard about it. Save and go to next page. Now this is the final review for the application. You can go back and edit any of the sections if you need to make a change, so that you can make sure that you got all of the correct answers in as you were going through the application with the person. Once you have reviewed the entire item, then click Submit Application. You also have the ability to print the application, and then you do need to hit Submit a second time. Once that's done, it will take you back to the customer's profile. It is still thinking here. And it lands you on the eligibility page so that you can complete the eligibility review. If you did choose to submit the application by email to your participant, you can click on the application tab and it will give you the ability to review the application again. Once the application has been verified for the eligibility and or enrolled, you cannot make any changes to the application. We're going to go back to the progress page. And under the verify initial program eligibility, it verifies the information that you entered. And all you have to do is mark whether it's verified. If you have verification documentation, you may want to, depending on what your what DHS says to you, you may want to upload those eligibility documentation records, redacted, of course, so that you're not putting up a social security number or personally identifying information on an upload. But you may want to put that information on the uploads tab. I'll show you that in just a couple of moments. So then after you go through and you verify the information, everything that has that little grayed out check mark, you'll want to actually verify. If it was changed, so like, for example, they answered yes, but I didn't think about the age that I entered. So maybe it would be no, out of school youth. And we verified, do they have a high school diploma? No. Would they be willing to go back to school? Yes. And so you can change some of the answers here for the eligibility still. Did you hear about the program through the local FCRC? Yes. And then if you do enter a social security number, it will ask you to verify it. And then any of the items that you marked for the situations, you will need to verify. You can add a note. Those notes are only viewable to people who have access to this customer profile. You can also add it after the application and verified if, as you're speaking with the person, the fact that they have another situation. So you can move these things through here. I need to get rid of those messages. Let's see here. I need to verify this one. Once everything has been verified, I'm missing something here. Then you click Save. And it tells you, oh, I forgot to mark which county. So apologize for that. Cook, Chicago. We have the counties broken down, but if you select Cook, you will also be asked to select a township. And if you select Cook Chicago, you will be asked to pick a community. So maybe it's Beverly or Bridgeport. I'm gonna guess here. I'm gonna say East Garfield Park. I'm not sure if that's where that zip code actually is or not. And then you scroll down, you can then save. It will tell you if you missed something. So then I just verified eligibility. Once you verify the eligibility, you have the ability to enroll the youth. We still need to update to add the HYES youth on here. Once that option is available, then you will select that. You will enter a date in here, and it's going to be today. And I'm just going to move forward here. Are they in school or out of school? It doesn't really truly make a difference. I don't believe, Julie, with this grant, I think we're just trying to track student ability. And then the enrollment status, are they enrolled and eligibility is verified? Are they on a waiting list? Or are you not willing to enroll the participant? So we're going to enroll and eligibility is verified. Once I save that, if I refresh the page, it shows me the enrollment history right down here. So you can see that you got the enrollment entered appropriately. If you do not have all of these boxes filled, columns filled out, you know that you missed something. So it was probably the program change date that you missed on that eligibility enrollment. The next section down is performance measured deliverables. We have some performance deliverables that are associated with this grant. Employment 101 is one of them. And I believe Casey Life Skills is part of this, but I'm not 100% accurate with that. Whatever is applicable to you guys, you will see within your contract. Follow-up is for the, did you do a follow-up case note after the fact? So a lot of people don't use this portion. And then if you do discharge the youth, when you're done with the grant or with the program, you'll discharge them. And if you discharge them, you'll have a number of reasons available from which to select. And I'm not going to save that so that it doesn't track that. The next piece that we have is the career plan, and we will have pre-populated steps associated with your program, and those will be added to the participant's career plan. So you'll be able to go straight to their, thank you, Julie. Julie says that Casey Life Skills assessment is required for eligibility for this program. When you add steps or services to the customer's profile, based on those pre-populated steps, they will show up under here based on the goals. Now, because this is test and because I don't have the homeless youth ones in there, these are based on the IYIP program. But if you click one open, you'll see the steps that are pre-populated for that program. It will work the same way for your program, and you'll be able to see the different aspects here for you to use the career plan to keep track of the participants' activities. Okay, I just covered a whole lot of stuff. I'm going to see if there's any questions from anyone. because I don't want to go too far too fast before you guys get a chance to ask the questions. Okay. You're welcome to open up your microphones and ask if you want to do it that way. Okay, moving on to the next piece. We have an overview tab, both for the program and for the career plan. On the overview tab, it shows you with green buttons what is completed and what isn't completed. So if I go into this integrated resource team, if you want to add additional people to the profile or add the first one to the profile that has access to this participants file, you can do that. And you can add a second one if you want to. Once they're added, you can click the view and see who has access to that profile. We have a number of items in here. We have NOCTI, which is no longer required. We have the career cluster inventory that happens to be part of Employment 101. We have the Casey life skills available. And then we have the Employment 101. We did have a number of youth participants who were here before we remodeled the Employment 101, so that's why we have the 2 generations in there. It also tracks case closure. What do they have going on with their career plan and worksite placement? Are they getting placed in positions? Do they have that information available? Now, on the career plan overview, this is the spot where you can see the latest information with their career plan. You can print or view an IEP or an ISS or the career plan form. It will show what you agreed upon with all of that information in their career plan. It shows you the progress for the assessments that you may have completed, the desired career paths. You can edit those under the, if you want to use this portion of the tool, you can enter assessments in here as you have a conversation with them. With Casey Life Skills, I'll show you where you will add that, and then they will need to be, the initial Casey Life Skills update will need to be added to the uploads section. So we'll show you that in a few minutes as well. Down here, it shows you the next steps, statuses of those steps. So this is a quick way to find out where and what you have done in the customer's career plan. It's a nice overview. Now, in the case notes, you can add a case note. You can also track case notes. So if I want to add a case note, I'm going to talk about assessments. I'm going to completed my goodness, I cannot type today. Then if you want to add bulleted notes, the thing with case notes is to put enough information in there so that if somebody is trying to catch up on a case file or is coming in and taking over, or if Julie happens to want to check to see what your progress is with your people, that you have enough information in those case notes to be able to let them know the whole story. With the case notes in Illinois WorkNet, you can send it as a message. You can send it as a message in an email, or you can just save it as a case note. If you are sending it as a message or message in email, you'll need to pick the people over here on the right-hand side that you would want to have that message. Once it's in there, you can see the case notes as they are listed. You'll see a small comment, how it was delivered, what the source was. We do have a connection with IWDS that is run by Department of Commerce. So sometimes the case notes might come in from there. On here, you can filter by the top of each column to find a time or date or message or subject for what you want to do. You can also export all of the case notes. Under the assessments, we have a number of assessments that are available. We have Employment 101, we have skills and interest surveys. Those are, the skills and interest surveys are done through CIS. And at the moment, I apologize, I can't think of what CIS stands for. But it is connected to the customer's profile. So once they're done, it is available. Employment 101 is tracked here for the pre-assessment and the post-assessment. And if you want to work as the person, you can click this link and it will take you to their profile and let you work as the person or track answers on behalf of them. NOCTI is an option that's available, but we aren't using it right now. The self-evaluation is on the essential employability skills. That is available to you. And if you select a new evaluation, you can take it with the customer right there, or the customer can take one on their own. It has a listing of the 10 most prevalent employability skills, and they can track how they feel they do with each one of these items. And I'm just going to put some answers down in here. I'm going to rotate through. If you click on the info bubble, it tells you a description of what that means, what that item means. And then they or you can type notes in here if there's any comments. When you preview it, it will show you blue for exemplary, green for proficient, yellow for needs development. It just gives you an idea of how to work with that youth to improve anything that they feel is lacking in their skill set. So then that will show up if I forgot to save. I can save that evaluation. I can print it, or I can return to the customer profile. And then if I refresh this page, it will show me a score of what the overall, so 40 is the top. It shows the score of what they had. Now we have an observational evaluation that can be done with you in a classroom type setting if you want. It's kind of a precursor before you send them out and have a worksite evaluation done. It talks about the same essential employability skills plus a few additional ones. The worksite evaluation can be sent to the employer, and it can, it directly reflects what's in the self-evaluation, but is worded so that an employer can answer the questions. And then we enter additional assessments. So this is where you would enter and track the Casey life skills evaluation. So we have the add assessment results here. And under the assessment type, we pick other assessment, and under the category, we type or select skills, and then we select Casey Life Skills. Now in here, we just want to pick the assessment date. Maybe it's today. The results would be just the generic results. So office, oh, it's not office. There's 8 of them, 7 of them. So what you would do is you would just put the word 21, word 2, 21. And so whatever the basic items are, you can list it there. Did it result in a credential? No. And then how was it given? What did you use this assessment for? It was for career coaching, career guidance. You can mark as many as possible. Improve performance. How was this assessment delivered? However you delivered it. And then save. Now, once you have the Casey Life Skills assessment added, it will show up at the bottom. This is also where you can add TABE tests or other assessments that you might want to use. Then at the top up again, we go to the uploads, and this is where you would upload the full Casey Life Skills assessment. So you would select the Casey Life Skills assessment, CLS assessment. You would pick a file. I don't have one on here, so I'm just gonna pick one here. It has to be a PDF. Oh, that's fine. I can't find one that I can post. All right, we'll open that, put it up there. And then what you want to do is add a brief description so that it's easy to figure out which document you want to open, because some of them may be named similarly. So we're going to do Casey Life Skills Initial Assessment. Whoops. And then upload that. It will show up in the list here of what you have. We've got a description, so we see, oh yeah, I want to open this one. So I just click here and open that file. All right, now under the employment, when you're adding employment for your participants, you'll see the results of your employment added here. If you have subsidized wages, they'll show up here. When you add payroll for the participants, you'll see it here. When you add stipends, you'll see it here if you're adding any of those. But where you will add that item is under their career plan. And under their steps, and we're going to look at gain employment down here, and they're going to complete a transitional job. We will have the exact language in here for the steps that you're required to add. You will add your work sites in under the worksite placement tab so that you'll have employers from which to select. Right now, I don't have any employers in here. I wonder why. So I can go here and add one. I should have some in here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I let my first tab time out on me. I wonder if that caused me angst here. Let's try this again. Okay, so we're going to go to our person. I'm going to look for on. Oh, I just realized I had to add her. Okay, this is test. I apologize. I'm going to have to log out and log back in. Perfect time to answer questions if you have any. There we go. So I just picked my program down here. I typed in my name and then I could go directly to find my customer. And then I can click on here to get back to the profile. And let's see if this career plan works now. Okay, so we don't have any work sites. Let's add one because that's what you would have to do. So we go to the bulleted list and we look at worksite placement. So if we want to add a employer worksite, we click on this button down here, but we first will need to pick a program and we'll need to pick a grantee. And we'll need to pick a type of employment. This gives me my list of who's already there. I don't see anyone, so I would add an employer worksite. And I can select someone if that's the right one, or else I can add a new employer. So we're going to add McNeil Welding. And this employer is the worksite. This is a welding company. I'm not going to put a URL in for their website. We look up a NAICS code, and all you have to do is type in a word. And you do have to spell it the right way. And we click that. Primary phone number is required. Address. Zip code. Primary contact. Title, owner. Email. Next step. Now we look for a SOC code. Same thing, we look up a SOC code. And we select description. Is it permanent employment or is it a work experience? And what's the hourly wage? And Julie, I'm not sure what their contracts say, but there should be a wage associated with that. Is that correct? Then you can place how many openings there are. Maybe there's 15 altogether, and estimated length in weeks. Work experience may only be a certain number of weeks, maybe only a quarter. Again, it's based upon your contracts. So finish. And now when we go back to Julie's program, we should see that employer listed. And we're going to look for Vaughn again. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but if you have tabs open, there is a 30-minute time limit on a tab being open before it will give you a timeout notification. So you do need to keep track of your tabs to see what's going on with those. And why? All right, I'm in test. It's not cooperating with me today. And this is the dashboard while we're here. Let's see if we can find this customer. Here we go. So we go back to the customer's career plan. We go back to the steps or service. We go into the gain employment. We look for the transitional job. And we now see our business. We add that. It puts in the information that we entered into the job. If we have minimum wage for the job, we enter that. We enter a start date. We enter if there are subsidized wage matches. Say we're subsidizing $10 of it. That means that the employer would have to pay $5 and your grant pays the balance. Part-time, they're started. We do not put an end date in, but we do put a start date for the subsidized wage. How many hours a week are they going to work? 15 or whatever. The other notes, and we're going to update the customer service. And will begin on 3/23/22. Save the case note. Then you can also add things like the service provider, the dollar value of that service. You can also track attendance if there is attendance required for that position. And once the position starts, you can add attendance in here. And then it will show up so that you can track that. And then if they earn any credentials, you can add credentials that they may have earned on that job. Okie doke. We talked about overview, application, case notes, assessments, work sites. So now when we click on work sites, we'll see McNeil's Welding. And once you upload any payroll for this position, you will see that there. Now, I've just talked about the case file for the customer. There's a whole lot of other parts associated with working in Illinois WorkNet. One of them is the user management, and another one is the provider information. We can add grant information, and if you have completed Casey Life Skills training, we can add that information in there. So let's click on here. Now I'm logged in as what's considered a super admin, so I see more tabs than you will. If we go to the grantee details and I select a provider and a program, it will show you the grantee information, the grants that are associated, staff completing required training programs that are associated with program, instructors if you have any that are teaching a particular workshop, work sites that are associated with your program, services that are associated with your program. So for example, if you want to add an additional service, you can select a service. Maybe you want to have them do anger management. You can click that box. If you want them to attend financial literacy training, you can check that box and it will save those to your list of programs that you can add. And then on the customer profile, you can add those steps and services to that customer's profile. Okay. Julie, do we want to talk about user management? I can add the basic people if they want to give me some information, but I don't want to record that part if we're going to do that. And then we'll go, while Julie's making that decision, we'll go on to reports. We have a DHS Youth PPR report. If you need to submit your quarterly reports, you can click on this tool. It will show you the program year. It will have you select a provider. You can select demographic filters. So I'm sorry, I was on the wrong performance. For this, we can report a date range, or we can report by quarters. We can select a provider. So we're going to pick this. We're going to select a provider.
Dee, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's certainly up to you. That's fine if you want to add.
Okay, I can do that. As long as everybody else isn't concerned with giving out birth dates. That's the one piece. And I just need to add one person from each organization. So we can do that. Category, we can pick, are they enrolled or not? And all measures, or we have a number of different measures that are available. So maybe we want to do number of registered youth, and we filter. And right now I don't have any youth listed in Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago, so it's not going to give me any numbers, but it will show you how the report will show up. And this is really good for you to be able to report for your PPR. Okay. That's all that I really want to cover right now, because if I give you too much more, you're going to be going, I do want to show you the partner page. This is available for everyone. I'm going to copy this link and paste it into the chat. That is something that you might want to bookmark. Once you have your user accounts squared away, you'll be able to click this link right here and go to the partner tools. And it is just partner tools. I'm going to remove this IYIP from here. It's just going to be DHS youth programs. And then we have our full list of resources so that you can look there. If you need to submit a success story, you can do it from here. We do have our event calendar. Oh, I'm a little behind. We have our next technical assistance session next Tuesday at 1:30. We will have that so that if you guys have a chance to get in and float around a little bit, I've got to get my programmer on making the updates for the homeless youth options in the menus. I'll find out where he is on that. So sometimes people ask questions and you'll be like, okay, I heard that before. Let me pay attention now. So you can join us on those. If you want to see any of the resources that are available, we have instructions, we have tutorials, we have flyers. We can modify a flyer for the homeless youth if we need to. I know it's a smaller audience. It's a more select audience. So we can discuss that if we need to. Instructions are updated and kept updated here so that if you want to click on the PDF, you can find the most recent version of those instructions. Okay. I'm going to end the recording right now. Thank you for watching today. Please join us on our upcoming technical assistance sessions.